Okay, so we're hearing the news that Bruno Fernandes wants a new contract. He wants to feel more valued. He wants to feel that he can see the project through to its fruition, and he wants to become one of the top earners in the top bracket, right? He feels undervalued at Manchester United. Now, I've just sat and I've just watched an entire video from the United stand where Beth says the following: he should be the exception and given an extra £100,000 a week wage. He's right to feel undervalued. That it's not all about the money for him, it's about being able to see through the vision, and he can only do that if he can stay at Manchester United. And a whole load of other things about how you just can't replace him. In fact, the word she used was irreplaceable. Bruno Fernandes is irreplaceable. Now, I don't think a team should be getting rid of one of their better players, right? I think it's a simple game. You have a collection of very good players. You stand more of a chance of winning. However, with this, what people are not understanding is Manchester United are just not or haven't been ran like a normal football club for a long time. So we are in a ridiculous situation where a club like Man U that makes a lot of money is kind of broke. It's kind of broke. And it sounds daft to say, but it's true. Now, what have people been saying, and this is where the cup win and everything's getting to their head, what have people been saying for the longest time? Oh, I wish we could sell this player and this player and this player. Then we could get some players in and we could start winning because this set of players isn't good enough. I want you to think about Bruno and where we are in the Premier League, because that's the indicator. How good are we as a team? As a team, right, we scored 57 goals. 57 goals. Okay. I mean, when you look at teams, that's the same amount of goals as Crystal Palace. It's one more than Brentford, one more than Fulham. It's 4 more goals than Luton scored. So when people say this player is irreplaceable, what exactly are we replacing? A captain that got stuffed 7-0 at Liverpool, a captain that has been stuffed multiple times, that has failed to ever challenge for the league. Now, you might be saying, whoa, it's a team game, that's unfair. Exactly, that's my point. He can't do it on his own. But if you replace Bruno, and you replace the high earners with a better squad because you can dish around the money more equally, you will score more goals, you will perform better. It's a team game. The idea that we should call certain players irreplaceable is nonsense. No player is irreplaceable at Manchester United, right? Let's just get that down for a start. Certainly not Bruno Fernandes. Now, I actually like Bruno, and would I keep him? Yes. Would I give him more money? No. What has he done to merit it? He was pretty shocking the entire season. Let's be honest, apart from maybe the last 4 or 5, 6 games where he started to get a bit of form, he was pretty shocking, right? Let's not forget that. He has been a part and the one key factor of a lot of major losses. He's not like a captain that's steered the ship and got everybody fighting, and when we've been 1-0, 2-0 down at Liverpool, we've all fought back. No, like the team as a team have capitulated. It's a team game. Bruno can't do it on his own. And if you get a whopping offer for a player, you have to sell, not because we're a selling club or not because of, that we're just trying to be cheapskates. I've seen people saying Ineos are cheap. They're like the Glazers. They just want to get rid of the high cost wages. Yeah. Is that not what you all wanted the whole time? We haven't been able to sell Martial because every time someone tried to buy Martial, whether it was Sevilla on loan or whoever, went, oh, yeah, we can't afford those wages, so you can have him back. Look at Sancho right now. Oh, yeah, we would take him. This is Dortmund, but, well, yeah, we can't afford that package. Or Harry Maguire we tried to sell to West Ham, and he was like, well, I'm going to lose 100k of my wages, so, hey, man, can you make up the difference? And Mason Mount was bought under a different regime, and he's earning more than Bruno. There is a time and a place for high earners, right? Mohamed Salah, super consistent, earns the most at Liverpool, I'm pretty sure. It's not an obscene wage. I think he earns maybe even less than Bruno, to be honest. I think it's like 220 or something. You can maybe dish out one contract like that for your absolute goated superstar, right? And everyone understands at the club that he gets that money because he's that good. Now, when people like Beth say, just give him 300 grand and make him the exception, he's the only one that's worth it. Now, what happens if Bruno Fernandes gets his 300 grand, he has one good season, and his legs go? Beth is sat there on the United stand saying, well, the way he looks after his body, the way he is as a player, that won't happen. He'll be playing it for 5 or 6 more years at the top level. You have absolutely no idea. He might be injured. He might break both legs. He might do a Frank Lampard where he's playing 70 games a season perfectly, looks after his body well, he's fit and healthy, and then there was that one season where he just arrived and he just couldn't run. He just couldn't get up, just couldn't do box to box. There are players that just fall off a cliff. Look at De Bruyne. 2 years ago, you'd have been looking at De Bruyne going, oh yeah, he's going to play forever. Now you're starting to think, maybe you could phase out Kevin De Bruyne, right? Maybe you could phase out Kevin De Bruyne and get someone different. You have no idea if Saudi are going to come in a few years or if their legs are going to go or whatever. So if somebody comes in for a whopping bid for Bruno Fernandes and you get 70, 80, 90, 100 million or something like that, you can then go, listen, we've got Rashford on the big wage. That was not us. That was the old regime. We don't do that anymore. So he's going to set on his wage. You can boo-hoo about it. You can cry about it. You're not going to earn that much at this club. If you don't want to come to Man U because you can no longer earn 350,000, then sorry, we don't want you. Do we not want players that want to play for Manchester United and not just want to, quote, feel more valued? Yeah, I get it, you know. You sat in the office and old Penny next to you, she's making £5 more than you and she's doing the same job. You might feel a bit annoyed. When you're on £240,000, have some common sense and think, I am earning an absolute shit ton, and the other guy got an insane wage because of the last owners and he's from Manchester and he shouldn't be on that money. But I really like Man United and I'm going to stay. No, these players, regardless of what Beth thinks, it's about the money. Now, we're in a totally dump situation where we can't get rid of players. If we give Bruno a brilliant contract and he stays, and Kobe Mainoo has 2 brilliant years and he goes, well, I'm really young. I want to stay at Manchester United forever and I've had 2 incredible seasons. Other clubs are sniffing around me. I want to earn as much as Bruno. I want to be in that same bracket. And they go, okay, well, you can't have 300, but the bracket is 250 to 300 grand and they give him 250. Then Garnacho comes into fruition and he has 2 good seasons and he says, well, I want 250. And then the owners go, oh, well, sorry, Bruno was the exception. And they'll go, all right, well, I'll leave then. Then what do you expect them to do? Let them leave? Let them, go to a different club? No, they're going to have to pay the wage. There is never an exception. You can't just start saying, hey, give this guy 300k and nobody else will want it. Prime example, this man here, Bruno Fernandes, wants 300k because of Rashford. That you could say, oh, well, Rashford was the exception. He's from Manchester and he scored 34 goals. So that's why he got the contract. It was the exception. Sorry, Bruno. It doesn't matter. Players want it. When they see it, they want it. Yes, Bruno Fernandes shouldn't be leaving Manchester United, but he should not be getting a new contract. He should not be getting more wages. He's been a completely mediocre captain that's never seen a league title charge. He's overseen some incredibly embarrassing results that should have seen managers fired instantly. He's certainly not irreplaceable, and anybody that is on stupid money and we receive a massive bid for, we should absolutely be getting rid of. Not because Ineos is cheap, not because we're trying to lower the quality of our squad, although initially that might happen. This is a plan. You actually need a plan to win in football, and randomly just throwing out good contracts for random good seasons doesn't work. We know it doesn't work, because if you ever come to offload them because of injury, or their mind gets upset, or let's say, Di Maria's house gets robbed or something like that, what happens if you put Bruno Fernandes on 300 grand a week, he gets an injury, something happens, his wife's unhappy, he's unhappy, and he wants to move, or we want to get rid of him for some reason, he's caused an issue in the dressing room, whatever it may be, we can't sell them because they'd be on too much wages and then you're stuck. Manchester United What we need to do is get rid of all the ridiculous high owners that are just there for money, get players that want to play, right, that actually want to play and be a part of something. And there are plenty of good players out there available that don't need £300,000 a week to play for Manchester United and put in a performance. You could say, based on this season, we have scored just as many goals as Crystal Palace. So, for argument's sake, if you wanted to see goals at Old Trafford, we could sell the entire Manchester United team, get the Crystal Palace team in, save an incredible amount of wages, and you'd get the same amount of goals. It's a team game. These players are not irreplaceable. These players aren't... Like, Bruno's not going to come in and score 50 goals on his own. It's a team game. And what we need to do is actually manage the squad. So when the United stand and moaning, saying, oh, Ineos are just coming in here to sell people and get rid of all the highest wages, they're just the Glazers 2.0, I feel like they just don't understand it. They're not the Glazers 2.0. They're trying to get rid of the high earners so they can actually have a wage structure and a plan that going forward over the next few years, yes, I know football fans don't want to wait that long, but that the club is actually run sensibly. Because let's say you go and buy, I don't know, a centre-back that you really, really like. Or you say to Martinez, we want you to be the head of this project. You're now on £250,000 a week along with Bruno, and we're going to bump you up to £300,000 if you have a good season. Then all of a sudden, if it turns out he's a bit of a cripple or a bit of a crock like Luke Shaw, then how do you get rid of him? They're not unless they absolutely are happy to go and play football for lower wages. They'll do a Phil Jones and they'll sit there forever. They'll do a Martial and they'll sit there forever. What we want is a group of players that are all roughly on the similar wage, right? And then if this group of players all happen to start winning things like Premier Leagues, they can all get a bit of a bump. Hey, we were all on 150 grand. We won the Premier League. Now we're on 200 grand. Something like that. As opposed to, oh, well, Bruno feels undervalued and we don't want him to leave because he contributes to a lot of goals and assists. So have £300,000, please stay. No, that's not what we want to do. If a whopping offer comes in for Casemiro, for Bruno, for, whoever it may be, you have to seriously consider it. It's not Ineos being cheap. The club is in such a stupid position where we're actually broke because we've been doing this idiotic contracts for so long, and now you've got the actual United stand parroting for it to carry on. Otherwise, we look cheap. What are they even talking about?